Okay, for geometry today, we're going to cover lesson 3.4, which is using slopes of lines, right? This should be something that you guys covered before, talking about 7th and 8th grade year, and even some last year. All right, so slope, a lot of times we think of it as rise over run. Right? And if we talk about rise, which variable goes vertically on the XY chart? Y. Which one goes horizontally? X. So a lot of times we think about the Y, or our rise as being change in Y, or basically how high or how far did we fall, or rise. All right? And run, which variable goes left, right? X. All right? So our run is our change in X, or X2 minus X1. Okay? This is the formula to use. Why is there like an X1 and an X2? What does that mean? There's 2 points, right? And that's just a name, right? That's just, all it is a name. So if I just left them as X and X, I would know the difference between them, right? It's like naming twins the same name, right? It doesn't make any sense, right? So that's why we got to name them like, we have twin 1 and twin 2 to tell us that we have 2 different points, okay? Although sometimes they make the names rhyming, right? Like I grew up and had 2 twins in my class, and they were named Matt and Pat. Makes it harder. All right. So let's talk about some slopes. All right. There's 4 different types of slope: positive, negative, 0, and undefined. All right. Do we all know what that M stands for? Slope. Okay. A lot of times it'll stand for other things like meter or mass or something like that. This, when we talk about lines, it stands for slope. Okay. And it means the numerical value of the slope, right? So if I'm talking about positive slope, what type of numerical value will I have for the slope? 1, 2, 3, 4. What type of numbers are those? Positive numbers, right? So here I'm looking at positive numbers. Okay? What does the line look like? It's going up, right? And we always read it from left to right, so it goes up. So the black is positive. Then we're going to go to negative slope. What type of values make a negative slope? Negative values, right? Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 1/2, right? All those. So negative numbers. What does a negative slope look like? It's going, opposite or down as you read it from left to right. So you go down as you read it from left to right. Okay? A lot of times in math and graphing and stuff, we're reading from left to right. Okay, on red for 0, okay, we're going to be talking about 0 slope. A lot of times this is called no slope, right? I've heard it called a couple times of being horizontal slope. Fixed it, right? Horizontal slope too. What type of numerical value is a 0 slope? 0, right? Only 0. If it's close to 0, it has to be positive or negative. And what does 0 slope look like? Other way. There you go. And the way I kind of think about it, if you have 0 slope, right, it means that we have no slope. If we look at the floor, does the floor have any slope? If I put a ball down on this floor, would it roll to a wall? Hopefully not. Hopefully, whenever you go into a room, that doesn't happen. Although in college, you get maybe poor enough that you'll pay $50 to live in somebody's basement, and it's a little bit crooked, right? But you should think of 0 slope as being no slope, like a floor, right? Floor shouldn't have slope. Last one, which I'll do in green, is undefined slope. What does undefined slope look like numerically? Numerically.
It's nothing.
That's graphically, but what about numerically? Huh? So it has to be a positive and a negative number at the same time? So if I look at zero slope, okay, zero slope has 0 as your rise, right? But you still have a run, don't you? Undefined means that we have 0 for our run, but we have something on top, right? It could be 1, 2. It just has to be some number. Okay? So undefined slope is always going to have 0 on the bottom of a fraction, okay? All right, and I'm just going to call the top a, right? So we have some number a over 0. What's that equal to? What if I did like 3 divided by 0 on a calculator? What number would I get? It wouldn't be 0. It'd be an error, right? It'd be an error, okay? And I'll explain in a second why that's so. All right, but for right now, what does this look like geometrically? All right, what does that look like graphically? Straight up and down. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about why that's called undefined. Why don't they call it like, if it equals to, 1/3, why don't they call it 1/3 slope, right? Why is it called undefined slope? Right? And it all comes down to division, right? Now I know you guys can divide, but you guys know what dividing actually means?
Yes.
Yeah? Well, let's see. I'll explain it one way and do a little bit of graphics with you and stuff like that. All right? Kyle, you got your cell phone out?
No.
You sure? Okay. Okay, so if I do 6 divided by 2, you guys know 6 divided by 2 is what? 3. Okay? One way people think about division is if I took 6 objects right here, right? I'm going to take away 2 at a time and share them with you guys and see how many people I share with, okay? So I'm going to take away these 2, right? Because I'm taking away groups of 2. I'm going to share those 2 with Jose. All right? I'm going to take away this middle 2, and I'm going to share with Abel's. And then I'm going to take away the last 2, and I'm going to share with Katie. All right?
Pardon the interruption. Could you please dismiss all non-senior football players and CT volleyball players?
Bye, guys. How many people did I share with? 3. Yeah. Yeah. This will also be on the internet. Okay? All right. Let me get a little bit more room. Now let's try 6 divided by 0. Okay? Shh. 6 divided by 0. Okay? Like the previous problem, I'm going to be taking away groups of 0 until I run out. Okay? So I'm going to take away a group of 0, and I'm going to give it to Jose. I'm going to take away another group of 0. I'm going to give it to Drave, and I'm going to take away another group of 0, give it to Kaylee in the back, take away another group of 0. How many do I get to share with? I'm going to share 0 with everybody, right? When am I going to run out?
Never.
I will never run out. Will I ever find an answer? No. That's why anytime you divide by 0, it's called undefined, which your calculator will say an error, okay? Huh? Calculator? These calculators just say error, error, right? So that's what calculators do. All right. So here we're going to do
When you find slope, you have to do like m equals slope, like the slope method.
That's the official way to do it. When you get to the end problem, I want to see that m equals part, okay? We'll go ahead and we're going to do a couple right now, okay? So we'll see. All right, so we want to find the slopes of line A and line D. Okay, which color is line A?
Green.
Green, right? So green goes from this point to this point, right? So let's do one, all right? So I know slope will be equal to, right? Top is what variable? The rises, right? Which variable is the rises? The y's, right? So I'm going to do y minus y. Okay? Which y do you guys want to minus? The top one? So the 4. We're going to do 4 minus my other y is 2. Now, could you have gone 2 first? Yes. The key, though, is once you choose a point to be first, that point has to be first the whole time. You have to be consistent. So 4 goes first from right there. What other number has to go first? I think it's a 6. It kind of got covered up, but it's a 6. 6, yes.
But if you do 2 take away 4, would it change the answer?
No, I'll do both real quick, okay? So we get 6 first because 4 is first, right? And they belong together right here. And then since 2 is second, 8 is second, since they're both right there. So we're going to take away 8. We get 4 minus 2, which is 2, over 6 minus 8, which is negative 2, which is negative 1. Okay? Okay, now, the question is, what if I mess up and forget which one to put first, right? The key is, you can pick, but you have to be consistent, okay? So let's say Cook decides that she put 2 first. Does that automatically make her wrong? Well, let's see. So she puts 2 first, so it's 2 minus 4. But since you put 2 first, what else has to go first? The 8. 8 minus 6. What's 2 minus 4? Negative 2. What's 8 minus 6? 2. What's negative 2 over 2? Negative 1. Did they get the same answer? The key is to be consistent. Okay? Where you will mess up is if I put 2 first and then 6 first. Do 2 and 6 belong together? No, they're not in the same one, so they both can't be first. Okay? Yeah.
But can't you do like the run, so like do the whole angle thing with the line?
So are you talking about making like a triangle out of it? Yeah. Okay, and that's another way to do it, and I'll do it in a different color so it's a little bit easier to see. We'll use it black. Okay? Another way is that we were talking about slope as being rise over run, right? So we read graphs like we read words, left to right. If I go from this point to this point, what's my rise? And I'm just going to count squares. It's not 2, it's negative 2. So I go down, right? No. Then I have to do my run, which is this way. 2. It's rise, which is negative 2, over run, which is 2, which is negative 1. Did that give me the same answer? Yeah. Now, again, it does not matter which one you do first as long as you're consistent, right? So let's do this again, but this time we'll keep on picking on Cook because she's backwards, right? So Cook decides that she wants to go from this second point back here. She can still do that, but she needs to be consistent. My rise, my rise is what? 2, right? But my run now, it's backwards, right? So my run is backwards, which makes it negative 2. So I still have, this time I have 2 over negative 2, which is still negative 1, okay? So all 4 of those ways got us the same answer. Key is you just have to be consistent, all right? All right, so that was line A, right? Well, that didn't work. Let's try that. There we go. Okay. All right, now we need to do line D, right, which is the black one. Okay. How many different ways do we have to do slope with line D? Line D. So we could do rise over run, right? Or we could do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right? Or does anybody see any other ways? Any other ways to solve it? I guess if not, then okay, Nino. Okay, so let's just do it the long way, because if you don't know a shortcut way, you can always do it with y2 minus y1, right? So the slope of line D, see if I make an MD like that, a little d, it says slope, line D, that's equal to y minus y. Cook, which y is going to be my first y on line D?
Wait, x, y, 0.
0, right? So we'll go 0 minus, and then we have to choose the one with 0, which is 6. So 0 minus 6. Yeah. Wait. 0 minus. Cook screwed me up. I'm blaming it on her. There we go. 0 minus 4, right? Because we have y and then y. There we go. On the bottom, we have to pick the 6 with the 0 because those were first, right? So I'm going to have 6 minus 6. That's going to give me negative 4 over 0. Negative 4 over 0 is what? Negative 4 over 0.
Undefined.
There we go. We better be saying undefined. I just talked about it just now. Right, Cassie? Yeah. So what is this? Undefined. Why?
Because it's not on the number, it's 0.
Yeah, 0 where? On the bottom makes it undefined. Okay, good. Okay, now, does anybody see a shortcut to that without having to calculate all that?
Vertical.
It's vertical, right? Right, Casey? It's vertical. If you see a vertical line, you should know automatically that it is undefined. And if you get used to it, you won't even have to do any math to it. You'll just be like, line D, that's undefined. I don't even need to do anything. Right? Yeah, Nino. I really like Nino's questions. They're very easy to answer. Is that? Never mind. Okay. All right. Let me look at what we have coming up. Oh, yeah. Excuse me.
Are we ever going to print homework pages in that one?
Yeah, we probably should.
We should, or we are? Because I think we,
Okay. This is, okay, excuse me. We'll go ahead and stop here for today. I don't want, we have half the class gone for sports right now, okay? So we'll go ahead and stop right here, okay? We'll work on other homeworks, okay? We'll grade probably 2 homework assignments at the end, okay? And we'll grade the other one later, okay? Okay, so this is where we're going to stop for today. Even though I don't want to, I want to keep on going.